Hi guys, and welcome back to the Watch Scientist channel. My name is Nelly, and today you join me with the green Tisell Marine Diver No Date. So the watch comes in this black synthetic leather box, which I think is alright for the price. It certainly is not out of this world, but it does the job and it looks great. Now inside, as you can see, we have some sort of certification papers at the top in this integrated pouch. And this is something I was not expecting from a watch at this price point. And so we have a 2-year warranty, which is great. The timepiece then is presented on this black cushion, which again is not really of the highest quality, but it actually does the job, so I guess it's alright. And to go back to the point where I bought this watch, it was I think in January this year, and if I'm being honest, I wasn't really sure whether to pull the trigger or not. This watch had been on my mind for months at that point, and I doubted the quality of the piece. I wasn't really sure about the price, but fast forward, I'm actually quite happy and satisfied with the performance of this piece. Now, before we get into the details of the watch and inevitably the controversiality of it, let me tell you a little bit about the Tisell brand first. So Tisell is a brand which is from Korea, and it is a brand which clearly focuses on homage watches. They, however, do also offer other homages, not only Rolex homages, but also like Flieger watches and Bauhaus style watches. But I think their most common or their most sold watches are the Submariner homages. And to my knowledge, they aren't sold in any type of physical stores. Everything goes through online retailing, which is often the case for homage brands. And I think if you are not that into homage watches in general, I think you probably won't know this brand, because I haven't heard of this brand either, like before September last year, so September 2019. So I discovered the brand and I was like, let's check it out. I thought they looked quite interesting. The pictures looked great, but as I said, I wasn't sure about the quality. So if we look at the watch, it has quite a solid feel to it, and I think for the price it is actually quite nice. It has a water resistance of 200 meters thanks to the screw down crown, and for me 200 meters is, because if you have a diver watch, I want it to be at least 200 meter water resistance. That doesn't mean that I'm going to dive with that watch below 10 meters, but it is a figure that is reassuring, I guess. And if you jump into the water and there's different kind of pressures, you know that 200 meters is definitely a good figure. And other than that, if you don't know what defines a homage, just to be clear about this, then go back to Chris's video of his pink gold Steinhardt, where he briefly explains the difference between a homage and a knockoff watch. So this watch, with its 200 meters water resistance, is actually a quite significant watch. I haven't seen many watches at this price point with such a significant water resistance. I mean, this is the same level as many Seikos, and obviously Seiko is much more of a well-regarded brand than Tisell. Let's go to the size then. It is actually the exact same proportions than a Rolex Submariner. So you have a lug to lug of 47 millimeters, a case diameter of 40 millimeters, which lets it greatly sit on my wrist, and I will put it on my wrist later so you can see that. And it has a case thickness of 12.5 millimeters as well as a lug width of 20 millimeters, which is great for replacing the bracelet. As you all know, 20 millimeters is the most common size of lug width to replace it. If we come to talk about the material of the watch, then it is made out of solid stainless steel, 316L actually, which is the same that I have on my Steinhardt. It is excellent quality. It is really good quality. You have these solid handlings, which is great. It has a very sturdy feel to it, which I absolutely love, and it comes on this deployant clasp, which it just sounds great. Listen to it. It's just very, very, very good. At the beginning, I had some difficulties opening it up, but I guess over time it just felt great. Like, it opens up much easier now than it did at the beginning. And then you have the glide lock, which also comes from Rolex as we know it. So the glide lock actually helps you to adjust the watch during the day. So let's say your wrist swells up a little bit during the day and you want to open it up, and then you can increase the size of the bracelet by a few millimeters without having to get a link out of there. And I think this is impressive for a watch at this price point. So let's consider that the watch actually has a price point of between 300 and 350 with tax euros. And I have never experienced a watch at this price point with a glide lock system, so I am very, very happy with that. Then looking at the case back, we have a very similar looking case back as to the real thing, so obviously the Rolex Submariner. And overall, when handling the watch and the bezel as well, it has this good solid feel. Same for the bezel as for the clasp. At the beginning it was a little bit heavy to handle, but now after some time it is just perfect. It also has no backplay actually, which again, for this price I cannot complain at all. Another very great quality about this watch is the sapphire crystal. If you look at it, it is obviously anti-scratch or scratch resistant, as some might say, and that again is something for me that is really important. If I buy a watch over, let's say, 200 euros, I do expect the sapphire crystal. And I mean, I don't really care that much about scratches, but on the dial itself I don't want to see any major scratches. And then something I actually love about the watch is the bezel. If you look at the glare that you see on the bezel, it's just absolutely amazing. I don't know if you can see it well here on camera, but if you go outside and the sun is shining on the bezel, you have an exceptional glare, and I think this is something that Tisell absolutely nailed. It is not easy to get this type of color. I have seen many homages, but none of them have this type of this type of glare in the bezel. And then also another good feature of the watch is actually the lume. So the lume on this watch is not bad, with a BGW9, and I will show a pic here. And if I had to compare the lume of this one to my Steinhardt Pepsi, it definitely is not as long lasting, but as you can see on the picture, it is strong at the beginning, but it fades quite quickly. So again, with the lume, I am happy with how it looks like, but I mean, I cannot expect everything from a 300 euro watch. As I said, the bezel and the dial look absolutely great. If we talk about the movement, then this watch is powered by a Miyota 90S5, which is a well-known movement. It is hackable and automatically winded. And this Miyota movement has a power reserve of 42 hours, which is great. And it gives it a quite beautiful, almost relaxing sweep with 28,800 vibrations, I think it is. And if you look at the sweep, it is just quite calm. I think it's a calming feature. I don't know if it's just me, but I love that about automatic watches. I think this movement does it greatly. Now, it is not the most accurate movement, I know. It is not the best of movements. It has, I think, an accuracy of -10 up to +30 seconds a day. And another critique you might often hear about this watch is the sound of the rotor. So it is quite a loud rotor. If you wind the watch or if you shake it up, you can quite clearly hear the winding rotor. I personally don't really mind that. But something I do mind actually about this watch, which I really don't enjoy, and for me personally it was hard to find something I didn't enjoy, because again, I'm really satisfied with the watch. But something I don't enjoy is the crown. Now the crown has quite a. I thought it was the same principle as with the bezel and the glide lock, that it was just sturdy at the beginning, but it actually is still quite fixed. So you have to really push and pull and really turn it quite strongly to get it out. And in my opinion, they could have done it a little bit better, either by adjusting a better grip to it on the crown itself or something like that. But yeah, the crown is the only major negative in my opinion. But other than that, you might say that the rotor is a bit loud, but personally I don't really mind it. If we talk about positives, for me, the bezel is just out of this world. Again, if you compare, if you look at many other homages, Hulk homages, obviously the Rolex Submariner Hulk, you see that most homages fail at portraying this specific green color. It is something that is, I think it's quite hard to replicate. I've seen the real thing. I've seen the real Rolex Hulk, so I am able to judge that. And especially because this, as you can see here, as this bezel is made out of ceramic, it has a certain reflection, it has a certain depth of the green color, and this is something that most brands fail at doing. And also the dial has the right proportions of greenness, if you might say so. Another feature then that I extremely appreciate about this watch is the solid feel of the whole thing. The bracelet, the case is just absolutely amazing. It is heavy. It is a bit of a heavy watch also. I don't know the exact weight, but who cares? I mean, the thing is that with diver watches, they tend to be on the heavier side. And with that, I want to have a quite solid bracelet. I want to feel that the watch is actually sitting on my wrist in a solid way. I don't want to feel like it is about to fly off, and so the solid endlings are a very good feature of this watch. The bracelet is solid, the case is solid, and in that sense, I don't really mind it being scratched or throw it around. You know, this is something extremely important about such watches. So let me put it on the wrist so you can see how it looks like. So here you can see again with the dimensions. I would say that the dimensions are a sweet spot for many people. If you have a large wrist, if you have a small wrist, 14 millimeters is right there in the middle, and that for me is an extremely important point. So my point of view is I love this watch, and if I want to hear what you think of this watch. Is this too much for you? Is it too bold in terms of colors? Let me know down in the comments below. Other than that, I hope that you are all well and healthy during these challenging times. Please stay at home and stay safe. And also, every single like would help a lot on this video, especially in these early stages. We appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, see you next time. Ciao.